And then also let's talk about like something recent that happened. So you became like an incoming business analyst intern at McKinsey. I'm
Yes.
curious because I've talked to like other people who recruit for consulting, like how did you get an internship at McKinsey? And like what tips do you have for, other like rising juniors who might want to apply to McKinsey or some sort of like consulting group? What are your tips for, preparing for those interviews, getting those interviews, and eventually, getting the offer?
Yeah. Oh my God. Um, I think like I'm still trying to process like how I did it because like forever it just felt like impossible. Like it just like because like everyone like glorifies it and like talks about like it's like out of reach and how it's like impossible to get. And I think like it just felt really like hard throughout the entire recruitment process. And so I would say that like I always had a good group of friends to go to, but I also like went through recruitment with a solid group of other people who were there with me. And so I think it's really important to not feel like you're competing with other people, but
Mm,
have like a solid group of like 2 to 3 friends who you case with and practice interviewing with. And those are people who will like call you when you get offers and like celebrate with you whenever they get a chance. And so I think I had that group of friends who were there with me. And also thinking about like I guess that's tip number one. Tip number two is like find your motivation and like make sure it's resilient, right? Like because like again, like if I was doing this for money, like that would be very hard for me to do 2 cases a day for like 2 months, right?
right.
Like that would be very hard if it was for the money. But my like motivation has always been the same, right? It's like I'm gonna go there and I'm gonna learn and then I'm gonna make an impact. Like that never changed. And I think
Mm.
that gave me energy to like go through the entire process and do it pretty well. But also number three is like I actually met a lot of people from all of the firms, and I actually like I don't think networking paid off that much in terms of like yeah, I don't think it paid off that much, but I think it helped me learn like who are the types of people at these firms and like do I like vibe with them basically. And so
Yeah.
I think that's a big thing. But also tip number four is like use the resources you have around you. I think there's like it's definitely a cultural competency to like know that you should be asking people for help because I know there are lots of like cultures, I guess, where like you aren't taught to ask for help. Rather, it's like
That's interesting. Yeah.
disincentivized or discouraged to ask for help, right? And I think at Berkeley, when you're recruiting, like you should ask for help, even if it feels uncomfortable.
I agree with that. And it's very similar for like any other industry, like outside of consulting too. Like for software engineering, I think the most effective way to study is to do like mock interviews with your other friends on like a whiteboard and like walk through like a complicated like programming example. So yeah, I think that's a really important point is like don't be afraid of asking for help. Like your friends are your friends for a reason. Like they're more than willing to help you most likely. So yeah.
I I mean like also I'm like a huge like business nerd. Like I I love reading business strategy articles. Like
Mm.
tell like I'm just a nerd for that stuff and I think it helped me.